What's raging, gamers? Good morning, Henrik the Wreck. How you doing, my man?
As always, I am doing great. How about yourself, Chris?
Hey, I'm doing excellent, my man. It's just been a beautiful day here in Southern California, and I'm just ready to rock and roll. There are so many exciting industry news, gaming talk, and so much more to discuss here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. But I'm not going to spoil it right at the top of the show because we got to warm into things a bit, right? We always like to start off the show with a lot of goofy content, and clearly Baldur's Gate 3 has been a massive success so far. Henrik, did you ever anticipate 700,000 concurrent players would be playing this game?
I definitely didn't, and the developers didn't either. You could definitely tell that, considering they said, "Oh yeah, at the most we'll get like 100,000, maybe."
I know.
And they got seven times that. It's crazy.
I mean,
hey,
kudos for them. But do you think like the hype was because of the man having sex with the bear? I mean, clearly that was going viral for like 3 weeks. Does that have anything to do with it?
Hey, I mean, I'm not saying that's like clever marketing or something, but it is marketing, I guess. To stir up controversy about that.
Well, you learn that, in school with communications and in television, film, and theater. There's no such thing as bad publicity. But there's also, it's kind of wild to me to know that, like, there's so many popular Twitch streamers and even people on Kick who are playing Baldur's Gate 3 and don't realize that the game is very revealing, even though they even spell that out right before you start the game. Like, hey, do you want to enable or disable certain settings that are going to be graphic on the screen? And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I got a clip here for you of multiple streamers reacting to Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, you could do more stuff here.
What? Hide close. Ah!
I thought there was supposed to be some undies, dude.
Wait, what just happened to my... Ah! It zoomed out.
Penis C. Penis D. E. I've got penis options. Vulvas.
I like how everyone's like, no, and then Soda Poppin's just like, there's multiple choices I have here.
It's funny that you said that because, the comments were very funny when it came to this. He goes, my guy at the end was a real one. Other streamers compared to the last guy. The second comment read, look at Cyberpunk, Rust, Conan Exile, and other games. They came first. Bolas? And last, for everyone saying that other games did it first, they advertised it and people knew about it beforehand, and streamers could turn on the nudity beforehand. These streamers didn't know there was a nudity, and they could probably get age restricted or banned from Twitch for showing nudity on their streams. That's why they were shocked. No, they were not. I mean, they clearly knew exactly what they were doing. I know there's a lot of things like in YouTube, for example, you have to really be very specific about who your target audience is. So, 18 years and up, you'll be able to kind of see the goofy content, see people kind of cuss a little bit or talk about things that obviously you don't want your infants or your young ones to be listening to. But thinking about how the Twitch guidelines go, you can't be like just showcasing nudity. Like, I mean, there's a reason why, there's people that do like hot tub streams, but they're not necessarily doing, pornographic, content on the streaming services. But do you see this being a potential problem? I know that there's previous games in the past that have done this, but totally insane how they're just careless.
I mean, it's one of those things where, there definitely is that element of, I did this on purpose for a clip that people can make fun of and, maybe get some views on. But at the same time, I think in the sense of if there's going to be any repercussion from Twitch, probably not, honestly, considering it's not an actual person. It's a video game character, and it's in the character creation at that. Like looking back at what happened when people played Cyberpunk 2077, same thing happened. Like a lot of people all of a sudden like, whoa, there's just like nudity on the screen, and it's just like, nothing happened from it. So
yeah, it's just interesting because remember when XQC got in a lot of trouble during his very first day on Rival because he started streaming Batman Begins? I mean, if they're that quick to go and attack a copyright restriction and they want to put a harsh stance on gambling and, you know, nudity and pornographic material. I mean, it's got to be vice versa, in my personal opinion. But talk about careless. Like, what's the most amount of money you've ever spent when it comes to cosmetics or V-Bucks on Fortnite or Minecraft tokens?
Probably $80 in Apex to get
Like
the last
over a
bit
lifetime?
of stuff.
Like
Oh,
your
over
whole
lifetime?
entire lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Like-
Maybe, you know, actually not that much. Probably only a couple $100s.
Okay, you know, that might sound like a lot to people, but that's actually not too shabby. Me personally, I've never paid for a cosmetic. Early days, you know, with the DLC packs and the Call of Duty era, that was definitely something that I would be doing, but I'm not buying battle passes. And I'm not doing a lot of this. But, man, I know there's a feature. You know, everybody's doing the digital wallet. You better lock those cards. Lock those cards. But if you are this individual who's like this cat who could have probably, oh gosh, I don't even want to spoil it. We might as well just roll the clip and you guys see what's good.
Yo, what?
Is that a problem?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, this reminds me of my friend who has like every little skin in League of Legends, probably thousands of dollars worth of skins. It's like the same thing.
It's just totally insane, dude. And let's read the comments because people definitely wanted to showcase how they felt. Fortnite kids like to be poor. One of my homies counted and bro spent over $2,000 on 2K since 2020. What? I didn't even know you can even spend that much money in 2K. Also, we have another comment here, and he goes, I wish I never spent as much of my parents' money on V-Bucks. Damn, son. And he goes, how much did he spend? And last, I, as a kid, spent about $600 of my, not mom's, money on Fortnite when older, about $400 on Warzone. And yeah, it was a mistake, but it is part of the past, and I enjoyed it as F. So I don't get people saying it was life's biggest mistake. Obviously, you haven't done any big mistakes. Kind of boring life. What? Like, what kind of justification is that? Like, literally with the amount of money that guy showcased, I felt like you could have, like, bought a home. Like, that's just insane.
I mean, okay, if the only game you're ever playing is, like, Fortnite or something, or one of these games, like, the investment, I guess, does even out compared to a person who's not spending that much money on these games and instead buying a ton of other games. And I guess it's about the same, maybe, but even I don't think I'd be able to justify $2,000 in any game on cosmetics.
Yeah, I don't think it justifies it at all. I mean, a lot of the times, you know, maybe in 2K you can get your attributes and your experience points up so you can ball out on the, you know, on the street courts inside the virtual game. But when it comes to something like a skin from Fortnite or League of Legends, like you referenced, it's, in my personal opinion, cringy AF. But this was very cool. People get really creative when it comes to playing video games, and not everybody has the luxury to be paying $80 for a controller. So people like to get creative. They want to get really popular online. And what's one way to really kind of showcase your talents beyond working your thumbs on a joystick or controller, or even smacking your keys on the keypad? Well, people are still playing Elden Ring. They're doing a lot of goofy content over the years, and let me tell you, this stuff is amazing what people are doing.
Boom! Ladies and gentlemen!
Oh, are we about to beat the dragon with bananas? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Mission complete!
Guys! Guys! Need for me. Come on, yes!
Let's go!
One more long range attack and we got this. Yeah!
I'm lost. I have nothing to say.
That is a certified Souls-like classic. Just to like take some other random controller method and be able to play the game and beat it that way. I remember I think someone played through all of the Dark Souls games with those Donkey Kong, the
bongos.
The bongos. I was like, oh, this is crazy.
That would be really, really cool. Hey, maybe someone might have to follow up on that. But maybe they should have used one of those weird controllers when it came to the submarine accident just last month. I know, man. It is so brutal. Hey, but we want to let you guys know that welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, where Henrik the Wreck and I, we talk about gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. And are you ready to rock and roll, Henrik?
Absolutely. You know it.
All right, brother. Let's get it, fam.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is a return to the series that first started back in 2001 on the GameCube. It's likely that if you've been around Nintendo games enough, you've at least seen the little plant creatures that are the Pikmin. Though despite this notoriety, the series has seen less success than some of Nintendo's other series. So that being said, let's get into what Pikmin 4 has to offer by first going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Pikmin 4 falls into the genre of action-adventure, while also being a real-time strategy game. Despite the strategy element, don't expect it to be like StarCraft. The strategy comes in the form of commanding your little army Pikmin followers, and using them to overcome the enemies in the game. Each Pikmin have different special abilities, 9 in total, ranging from the classic Fire-type Pikmin to the new Ice-type Pikmin. Using your army of Pikmin, you'll be exploring the planet and also delving into some dungeons, defeating a wide range of enemies along the way. But why are we exploring in the first place? Let's go over that by looking at the story of Pikmin 4. Unlike previous entries in the series, Pikmin 4's protagonist is a character that the player gets to create themselves. This is because you are a part of the Rescue Corps, and you have come to this planet in search of the previous game's protagonist, Olimar, after a distress signal was sent. However, you find yourself having to first save other members of the Rescue Corps who have crash-landed on the planet. And what planet is this? It is a planet called PNF 404, a planet wholly similar to Earth, minus the presence of humans. It is theorized that the planet is Earth far in the future, after some apocalyptic event that wiped out humans from existence, but nothing is actually confirmed in the storyline of the games. To summarize on Pikmin 4, the game is a wholesome experience with a mostly cheerful atmosphere. It is the series at its best so far, and has been receiving attention from fans old and new alike. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
This is a game that, maybe if you don't have a Switch, it might not be enough motivation to just buy a Switch for just this game, but it is another good game to have on the Switch. So if, you've been looking at getting a Switch and you're looking at what's out there, this might be another one that you could be interested in playing. It is a pretty long one, around like 20 to 40 hours, depending on how much of the game you want to do after the storyline. But the entire time, at least in my opinion, it is a game that you can just put on, relax. Maybe you come back from a long day at work and maybe it's stressful because you're dealing with customer issues or something, and you get home and you just have a little bit of control over these little Pikmin guys and have some fun. The one thing that people have been complaining about with this game, though, is compared to the previous entries, there is technically a co-op mode, but it's not really co-op in what you're thinking when you hear co-op, because in the previous games you would control another character entirely, and in this one the second person just controls a little cursor to throw pebbles at the enemies and stun them. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty good game. I think that personally I could see myself playing it again at another point in time, but for now, maybe not. But maybe in the future, a year or two from now.
Sounds like you're not. It sounds like you're not. I mean, just give it to the people straight. I mean, why are you lying? You fronting up. I mean, to be real with you, man. I mean, I'm so glad you referenced that point about the whole 2-player campaign, because that was something that was referenced in like Pikmin 3 Deluxe that a lot of people were celebrating. And they really thought that was an amazing addition to the game. And then Pikmin 4 comes out, and then they don't add it. I thought was a complete L in my opinion. This series for sure has been overlooked for years, but when it comes to this one particular installment, I think it's a one or done. They have a really hard time, I think, trying to figure out like a family-oriented, kind of casual gamers, like in the past, it got a lot of flack because, you only had so much time to be able to complete the story, or like your supplies will start depleting. That was something that they got rid of. And I think that's because they wanted to try to get the youth involved. But when you have to constantly worry about, going back to school, walking away from the game for a couple weeks and then jumping in and go, man, I have to restart all over again. That's an L in my opinion. So they got rid of that, which was really, really cool. But, the maps do look massive, but I don't know, man. I think that's the problem with the Nintendo, which we've talked about previously, is that it's very cartoonish 24/7 with a lot of the IPs that get released. And so when they do these kind of style of games, you always expect more, not removing features that were celebrated. You would think that would add upon it. So in my opinion, this is a pause.
I mean, I get that. And it is definitely a trend with the Nintendo games. I think there's a certain level of polish compared to other games that come out, considering the, game like this, it came out, there wasn't any issues, considering it's 2023 and there's games that come out that are just completely unplayable at day one. Like, they at least do a good job with that. You did bring up an interesting point about the time limit, though, and I think that's why it's maybe a pause for me as well. Actually, probably is a pause, I'd say, considering there's less of that replayability.
Yeah.
In this one, because there's no time limit, you can, go through the game and get basically everything you want done in your first playthrough. If you really want to, you can go and, do anything you want. Especially, they have this rewind feature, so you can optimize everything to the last little detail you want. But in the previous games, because there was that time limit, you have that, stress of like, okay, I gotta, move along here a little quicker. And then the next time you play, you're like, okay, I get this now. Like, maybe I can be a little bit better than the last time. And I think that is why it has a little bit less replayability, in my opinion, because you're not having to go back and optimize a second time through if you wanted to play it a second time. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, maybe the viewers, if they've played it, they have their own opinions. So if you're watching and you have an opinion on Pikmin 4 that doesn't jive with ours, then let us know. We'll
let us know what's good. Let us know if Henrik the Wreck and I are wrong.
I mean, maybe it's a repeat all day, every day for you,
But you were sort of fumbling the bag earlier. I have to hear it from you. Is it a pause or is it a repeat?
It is a pause for me. Yeah. I'd say, considering there's other games that have come out this year that I think draw my attention more, and I would definitely repeat first before this one.
Yeah, I think you've heard the verdict from us. Excellent video. Again, Henrik the Wreck, when it comes to pause or repeat. And for everybody that's tuning in live with us right now, stick around as we got more left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. What's good, gamers? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host Henrik the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. 21-year-old influencer Kai Cenat announced last week on Twitch that he'd be doing a huge giveaway of video game consoles and other gaming gear, like headphones, webcams, gift cards, just to name a few, that he was going to hold in a truck at New York's Union Square, with prizes given to those who answered random questions pertaining to YouTube and streaming. And on the given day, hundreds and then thousands of people showed up, and the situation quickly got out of hand.
charges will be placed against you. If you refuse to leave, you will be arrested for unlawful assembly. Police department. This assembly is unlawful. This is the New York City Police Department.
I want to get it away. Like, on the bus to do that, we gotta chill. Love you, God.
Look at him right there.
Absolutely insane. And there's even more graphic material that we couldn't showcase live on air because it's too much for our audience. And the NYPD said that Kai Cenat had been charged with inciting a riot and unlawful assembly, among other charges. And so we might as well just play the comments and get it rolling. One person here said, how they taking Kai Cenat to jail? That got me laughing, especially with the video where they're like carrying him over the crowd like he's a toddler. Like, that is insane. But let's be fair, he is a small guy. He's pretty small in public. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video of his security guard walking him out of the courtroom. He is a small guy. There was another video going, footage of Kai streaming from jail. Oh, God. That is funny. Is this like going to be the a spin-off series of Orange is the New Black? We also got Kai not in this video, nor is he on anyone's car. These badass kids was looking for any excuses to be reckless, blame their parents. I know how to go somewhere and no destroy shit no matter the age. Another person wrote, feel like Kai had good intentions, just poor execution. He effed this time for sure. He'll probably be good. He definitely should have done this at an arena. I don't know what he was thinking. Also, you parents need to teach y'all's children how to have manners, respect, and home training. This is embarrassing. Home training? Like, what? Okay. And then also, how heroic of him to save one child amongst the chaos he caused. And so, Henrik, what do you make of all of this?
It's a complicated issue. I think that there's fault on both sides, you know, him being at fault and then also the crowd being at fault. Every time that there's, well, not every time, but a lot of times that there's like a assembly of a large group of people, there's always going to be at least some people in that group that kind of ruin it for the rest of the people and decide, okay, now is the time to take advantage of the large number of people and go destroy something, loot things, all that sort of thing. And that's messed up because, like, why are you doing that? You know, some people lost their livelihood in this riot, essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
and, that should never happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of moronic, to be honest with you, when it comes to Kai's team. I mean, where was his handlers? I mean, did they really think that was going to be a good idea, showing up to New York's Union Square? I mean, hello? I mean, were they not anticipating mayhem to ensue when you're trying to give away a PS5 that essentially hasn't been available for over 3+ years, and they finally just put a discount on the console for the first time last week? I mean, are you kidding me?
You got to think about it too. You know, yes, the console is now available. You know, like you can go to a Best Buy or wherever, and they probably have at least a few for you to buy. But a lot of his viewers probably can't afford it because they're younger. You know, they're like 18 and below or around that age, so they might not even have a job. They might barely have an allowance to go out and hang out with their friends. At least, you know, based off of what I remember when I was that age, I definitely couldn't spend $500 on a console.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, you got to think about that too. You know, a lot of the kids that are out there can't afford it. So they're really excited at the chance of not only meeting someone that they really enjoy watching, but also the chance of, you know, actually getting a console. And again, you know, what is actually the chance when there's that many people? He only had probably a few things to give out.
But what do you think about, you know, Mayor Eric Adams saying that he feels like there might be outside agitators who created this mob-like environment during the Kai Cenat riots? Or what do you think of the Chicago mayor when he says we need to use a better vernacular when it comes to describing these style of riots? We should not be using or calling these young gamers mobs. They're not little Al Capones running the streets. I mean, what do you say to people that say that kind of stuff? Because I mean, I think it's pretty clear as light as day that like, it is a mob. It is a riot. I mean, kids were acting unlawful. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I mean, we were literally talking about facial recognition last week during our episode about how like this is the kind of shit that's going to make it more of a reality in very massive populated, societies where you're going to have facial recognition all over the place because of dumbasses like these kids that disrupted this unfortunate, what could have been a really, really cool giveaway, but eventually turned into straight mayhem.
Oh yeah, and I get what those, government officials are saying about like, let's come up with a different way to describe things, because a lot of them, they're kids. They don't necessarily want to be in the middle of a whole huge mob, but they end up being in there regardless. I think that maybe that's not the point though. Because like, yes, maybe we do need to update our vocabulary to have different terms than just riot or mob or whatever. But at the same time, like, understand what happened and address that first, because that did happen. Don't, shield yourself with, oh, we gotta, change the way that things are handled. We gotta change the way that we talk about these things. No, like, people's property got destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally insane. I mean, according to news reports from Channel 4 New York, nearly 1,000 New York PD officers arrived at the scene and found instances of fans throwing trash, climbing on civilian vehicles, and being generally unruly. And, some popular streamers think that the reaction to the event seems strange. And we can't play all of them, but we will play Hassan Piker's because his was the one that really went viral for his take, and we'll also hear from XQC and Asmon Gold.
Local media talking about $3 worth of fucking Doritos. Like, there was a bank run or some shit. Like, also want to fucking make it seem like, this is a riot that was completely out of control.
Wait. Some buildings were raided, cars destroyed, people are throwing fucking fireworks. Look at the images being shown on screen. There's dog shit everywhere on the ground. Look at this shit. Like, how is this not out of control or a riot? It's both. Look at this shit.
A riot that was completely
like, what the fuck am I even looking at?
Like, if you want to talk about, like, it's a complex issue, right? So it's easy to go and just be like, oh yeah, Kai is in the wrong, but it's not that simple. Like, and like, that's what happens is like, anytime that you try to offer any sort of like nuanced conversation about something like this, you get these people that have already made up their mind that get mad because now they have to think a second time and they don't want to go back on what they already thought.
I don't really think it's a complex issue. I think it's a very simplified answer. It's the power of social media is real. I mean, this guy's got over 6 million, 5 million, 4 million on multiple different platforms from Twitch to YouTube, you name it. So like to think that he wasn't anticipating this, and it's not like it was like an hour or 2 hours before the event, like, hey man, I'm just going to randomly show up to Union Square, come through, and I'm going to do a huge giveaway. He's been hyping this up for a couple of days. So how did his handlers not anticipate that this kind of shit was going to happen? And why choose Union Square out of all places? I mean, to me, bro, I can't justify any of this for Kai. I really do think if they want to kind of fix this kind of like mob-like mentality, you gotta take action and you gotta influence the law, man. Because like the minute you just kind of like slap the wrist, it just opens the door for more of this kind of shit to happen. And if we don't, then guess what? Facial recognition is going to be a reality when it comes to Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, many metropolitan areas. It's going to happen.
No, I agree. I think that there's elements of it that aren't really that complicated, like the fact of like, are you really going to say that he and the people he is working with, his managers, handlers, any of them, didn't think this was going to be a bad idea. Like, any large following is going to come and, do this to you, even if you're, I think when we were talking about this earlier in pre-production, you mentioned Taylor Swift. This would be the same thing as her saying at her concert, hey guys, I'm going to go on Sunset Boulevard and we'll trade some stuff. Like, everyone's going to show up and mess things up.
Oh, that would be insane.
Yeah, because like, that you probably had like a few people at least that this went through this idea of showing up at Union Square and having this whole like meetup for a giveaway. For that sort of thing, for a large group of people, you really have to go through the right avenues when you get to a certain size of following, because otherwise things like this happen. You have to go through and get permits from the state and government officials, and you have to get, they have to basically get people like to come in and not police necessarily, but monitor the situation and make sure that things don't go out of control like they did.
I mean, how fair is that
leads
for the
to more police? If things get out of control, then more police would have to show up like they did now.
I mean, how dangerous was that for the men and women in blue who had to rush to the scene having no idea what the heck is going on other than, hey, we need everybody who's on call, rush your ass over to Union Square, which there could be crime on the outside area that couldn't be accessibly available because they had to worry about this jackass move from Kai. So I think it's very, very dangerous. And I know a lot of people are arguing, hey, listen, look, we got streaming influencers. Some people can be famous in one day. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Kai's been building a following for a couple of years now. He's a massive dude. Just because you go on the local or mainstream media and you listen to these old, Cracker Jacks that are just, basically old-timer baby boomers that are just, kind of flaking in the sun, and they might not know what Twitch is or they might not know what Rival is. But you have to understand the power of social media is so real. And if they really want to kind of put a stop to this kind of stuff, they have to enforce the law on Kai. But unfortunately, I think he's going to get a slap on the wrist. He's not going to get jail time, but he's probably going to get his fine like slashed in half, because let's be real, he's probably got the most amazing legal team in the game, and so they're going to be protecting his ass. You don't go walking out of the courtroom after like 12 hours and not saying any comments to anybody, because he knows that he got a slap on the wrist with this one. So I think I've said about as much as I could say on this issue, but is there anything that you want to add?
No, yeah, I think, he definitely isn't going to have huge repercussions as a result of this. Unfortunately, the thing with a lot of the legal system in this country is once you have a certain threshold of money, you can hire a legal team and they will take care of most things for you.
Yeah. And a lot of those kids that were saying very derogatory things towards the men in blue that are caught on video, and you're as young as 13 all the way to 18, that follows you, that plagues you. You better hope that your next job occupation doesn't catch you on that video. So don't be that guy. Please, gamers, don't be that guy. We do not want that being representative of all of us gamers. I mean, this kind of shit is what fuels the fire when people go, gaming incites violence. Gaming makes your persona think, murderous things, or it makes you think anarchy. I mean, it's so silly. So please, gamers, don't be that person. But hey, Henrik, what's going on in the world of Nintendo?
Well, on a brighter note, Nintendo, has had a bit of time for the Switch to marinate at this point. It's been a long time since they've released any new hardware, minus the Switch OLED model. But even that was a couple of years ago at this point. But there's always been a lot of talk in the past couple of years about what's their next gen move, their next gen console. And there's now a lot of sources coming out saying, oh, we know that the next console is going to come out next year, their next gen console. Wow. That's going to be in the second half of 2024, and it's going to compete with the PlayStation and Xbox Series S and it's going to be available day one, so there's no shortages like there was with those consoles.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's going to happen?
Debatable. We'll see how that goes, considering the atmosphere of gaming and buying consoles nowadays.
Yeah, but
in regards to that, like, a lot of people have been wondering, is that necessary? Like what are they going to do? Are they going to release just new hardware? A lot of people do want that, but is that going to mean more money? And Nintendo is usually more family oriented, for the casual audience a lot of times.
Yeah, so true.
So they're going to probably need a little bit more incentive than just, it's faster than the last one. But we do have some comments on what people were thinking if we want to start pulling those up.
Yeah, let me go ahead and showcase that to everybody that's tuning in live wherever you're streaming this show. So the first comment that we got here was Nintendo's next generation console could be called the Super Nintendo Switch. You know what? I'm not going to lie. That is kind of cool. That kind of sounds cool.
Yeah. Be a callback to their old consoles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to say it. This console needs to be backwards compatibility with Switch. It would be such a giant L if it doesn't. I can't wait to rebuy games and get 10 different controllers all over again. Yeah, you should be playing on your banana controller. Haven't you thought? I mean, everybody's doing it with Elden Ring. Why do you need 10 different controllers? Also, we got, instead of Switch, it will have 2 models now. Sub is the mobile version that runs games at 1080p, 30 frames per second. And Dom is the home console version that runs the same library at 1440 pixels, 60 frames per second for $100 more. That made me really laugh, considering how, the PS5, they got their digital edition, and then they got the console, which is really like the MacBook Airs, and you buy them, and then you go, oh crap, I don't even have a CD-ROM. Like, oh my gosh, like, how am I supposed to do anything? They are trying to move you towards the cloud world. And Henrik, I'm so curious on what you think about this, because we talked about it, last month, where, Nintendo got a lot of flack for removing over 10,000 plus games from their Nintendo shop online. And now that I'm starting to hear that in the second half of 2024, a next-gen console could be coming with the Nintendo, I just have a weird feeling that there is going to be nothing's going to change really when it comes to the hardware, but what they're going to be pushing forward is cloud gaming. They're going to be setting up the subscription service, and I think that is the future. Because, what more do people want when it comes to hardware? Like your Super Mario and AK? What?
Well, I think in regards to hardware, I think the Switch definitely does need an update, considering it is a little far behind compared to the other consoles that are out there, and is starting to really struggle with a lot of the things that these developers are wanting to do. The thing that's also really silly is, I'm very much someone who likes to tinker with my hardware and, things like that. I build computers at work constantly, but when I see these videos of people jailbreaking their Switch, overclocking it, and then now the games that they're playing are running, a lot better, more stable frame rates and things like that. It's like, that really means that not only are they holding back the Switch's hardware as it is now, but it needs an update in that case, because that means if they were to switch to a different chip, which they're already on a mobile tablet chip, if they were to switch to a different chip, then they'd open the doors on what can actually be put on their console. Yeah. Especially when you have things like how they have that deal with Activision to put Call of Duty on their consoles, and it's
you nailed it. You nailed it right there.
How are you going to put a game with that high of a fidelity on a Switch that struggles to even play some of the lower spec games? Like, I play, every now and then I'll play a game on my computer, and it has crazy specs, my computer, and even then, I'm not getting at the high resolutions, a lot of frame rate.
Yeah.
How can you expect such a great experience from a Switch playing a game like Warzone? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're making excellent points. You don't have a 10-year agreement with Activision Blizzard collaborating with Nintendo for the first time in a long time. Way overdue. This has been way overdue. I'm very excited for Nintendo to finally get this deal done for a lot of Nintendo gamers. But I think you nailed it. They are anticipating for the future, and I think they realize that, like, maybe we didn't really want to get the next gen going until the second half of 2024, but because we got a lot of these awesome moves happening in the now, we really got to start ramping up production. But, you know, I think sometimes, you know, when you think about like the next Nintendo console, it's like, what more can you currently offer than they don't get now? I mean, you know, it seems like we have our expectations way too high. And I'm going to bring kind of like a cinematic approach into this gaming conversation because in the last 2 weeks, you know, The Witcher on Netflix, and let's even say Marvel's Secret Invasion has got a lot of flack, and even the creatives have been speaking up recently. There is a report on The Hollywood Reporter that is saying that creatives are pushing back against their material, you know, saying that, you know, young viewers are being inspired by only emotions rather than the plot after being raised on YouTube and TikTok. And so what I'm trying to say is, it's like, do we have our expectations way too high when it comes to the next gen? Because I just, what more do people really want? I mean, I'm shocked that backwards compatibility is like the number one thing that almost everybody's been saying.
Well, I kind of see what you're saying, because when you get to a certain threshold, at least with the current technology, if you get to a certain threshold, you're going to have to charge a lot more for certain hardware. And so if the Switch is all of a sudden going to be, like, for example, supporting 4K on what's probably going to be a mobile device still,
yeah,
that means that it's going to be very expensive. And when your audience is a lot of families and, you know, more casual gamers, you're kind of alienating them from even buying your hardware at that point, because you're looking at something that's then going to probably be at least $800 for a 4K mobile capable device. Like that, if that's even possible right now with decent battery life, is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
But actually, earlier this year, Doug Bowser of Nintendo USA, the head of Nintendo USA, yes, Bowser is the head of Nintendo
it is his
USA.
real name.
It is his real name. We're not making a joke there. He did come out and say that they aren't going to release a Switch sequel or anything like that until they have a new gimmick to serve the customers, which then, you know, brings up the possibilities. Okay, if they're trying to get a new gimmick, they might not really be focusing on the hardware being incredibly fast in comparison to the other consoles. They're maybe focusing on, like, how, you know, the Wii implemented motion controls and how the Switch had the mobile ability to take the console on the go or dock it at home. It's going to be something like that, something that isn't done by the other consoles. And I'm thinking maybe the thing that they might be doing or looking into is things like VR. Like, maybe the console will be VR capable, might even come with a VR headset in the box, so you can, you know, put it on. Only thing about that, though, is it going to be a Virtual Boy flop again, which is a console that they released so long ago, and it was terrible. No one liked it.
Man,
I don't know. I mean, maybe someone out there has a better idea than I do.
That's true.
On what their gimmick's going to be.
I feel like I'm going to be the beast of burden. I think the new gimmick is going to not please everyone. But if I were going to predict this now live on the show, I think the new gimmick is going to be, you can walk away from your home entertainment television and you can grab that thing on the go, and it's just going to have a longer battery life. I mean, that's been the biggest complaint when Nintendo Switch first dropped, was that the power supply is dog wet and flops like a fish. So I think that's going to be the main source of material. And, you know, you're going to get a new upgraded chip to be able to play games that are already accessible to the now, just not for Nintendo gamers. So, hey, let's check it. We're going to have to keep a lookout. These are just rumors circulating. And as more information comes over time, trust me, Henrik the Wreck and I, we're going to be jumping all over this story.
Absolutely. We'll be one of the first to talk about it, obviously.
Oh, you already know the drill. I mean, it's not called Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show for any
Exactly.
reason.
And if it's bad, if it's not up to the expectations of us or the viewers or whoever, we'll talk about it and we will rage about it.
We will rage about it. That is so true. But I think we should switch topics because, like, I don't know about you, Henrik. I've been so freaking excited to talk about this one particular story because it is so freaking insane.
Yeah,
So
tell us what's going on with the YouTubers and AI.
Dude, it's freaking insane. So let me like warm this thing up for everybody because I'm so surprised this is not one of the most massive stories breaking on all nationwide media. Like, this is so freaking insane. So 5 years ago, there's a gentleman named Jordy Van Dan Bush, aka Kebble Cobb, who ran into a problem. He said every time he wanted to take a holiday or I needed some time for himself, he couldn't really do that because his entire business would stop. That didn't stop Kebble Cobb from coming up with a solution. Create an AI model to reproduce his physical presence using a series of AI tools designed to create and upload videos practically without any involvement. I mean, it is freaking insane. And if you don't believe me, trust me, I got a side-by-side of who he is. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake there. Oh yeah, that's Mark Zuckerberg. That's not the real Kebble Cobb. But I think we can clearly see from Kebble Cobb on the right side that it's a way better looking model than what Mark Zuckerberg's ever done with the Meta so far. But this is what Jordy really looks like in life. Do you like this? Do you think it looks like him?
I think it looks like him at least a little bit. It's a little bit in that like uncanny valley area, at least to me. It's a little scary when you look at it at certain angles. But hey, I mean, maybe that's just the future, you know? AI is going to be scary.
And he's already released a video of the AI model playing Minecraft. I mean, is this our dystopian future? Like, we're only going to do this show for 4 more years, and then we're going to replace each other so we can go and do other ventures. Is that what the future of Rage Quit's looking like? I mean, am I missing something? But guys, it's hard to believe that this is real. And I'm going to show it to you guys right now.
Oh my god, guys, it says break the block below you, but I can't lie, I'm kind of scared because I'm not sure if it'll actually regenerate, but let's just do it. And oh my god, the block will regenerate. This is insane. Okay, guys, so we just have to keep on breaking this because it is an infinite block and it spawns more than that. Of course. Okay, so now we are put. I'm going to start expanding my island right now because I don't want to fall off and die because, as you can see, we are in hardcore. So if we die, we die. No! Okay, it's fine. You know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. We're just going to keep on moving, boys. I don't care. I'm going to find that diamond even if it costs me my life. Give me my diamond! Right! No! My axe just broke, but it's fine. More iron. Okay, I thought that was a diamond for some reason. Another chest. Okay, spruce. We don't need that. We need a diamond. Okay, missions on me. Not today. I'm on a mission to find a diamond! Oh, the spider's attacking me! What? Why? Why did the spiders attack me? Oh, because it turned nighttime. Oh my god, guys.
What do you make of this, Henrik? I mean, I'm just amazed. Like again, viewers, Kebble Cobb is not playing. The AI model of Kebble Cobb is doing everything in that Minecraft game. First reaction, Henrik.
It's impressive that the technology can do all that, and make it sound actually pretty convincing to make it sound like it's an actual person. But who's going to want to watch this? I don't know about you, but I don't want to watch a creator of mine that I like to watch just replace themselves with AI. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there for them themselves, not for an AI version of them. And I looked at the video when we were doing pre-production, and I know YouTube got rid of the dislike counter, but I have the extension
to it already.
to put that to put the dislikes back. That dislike counter, ooh.
Man, look at that. It says 1.5K to what, 13,000, dislikes. I mean, that's insane. And Kebble Cobb said the stats don't show a mass amount of unsubscribers on the video, making me believe the dislikes come from an external non-Kebble Cobb fan source. What do you say to that, Henrik?
I mean, it's possible, but maybe it's also possible they just don't like the video. Have you thought about that?
That's true. I mean, he has over 5 million plus subscribers. Maybe his own fan base is flocking back. The video did garnish some attention. He did say he broke over 100,000 views, and it's still going to this day. But, you know, he had to respond to a lot of this. You know, Kebble Cobb's AI's first video is going live, which we just showed you. It's a lot longer if you want to go ahead and check it out. But here are some fun facts he wanted to let you guys know about. This is not my voice. We used AI to clone my voice. And this has been a huge controversy. One of my good friends, Erica Harlacker, she's a part of 7 Deadly Sins. You might know her in Sailor Moon. You might know her in Persona 5 series. She is very fearful of this AI cloning your voice without your consent. Clearly, Kebble Cobb allowed it to happen, but this could be a potential problem. The model is not me, obviously. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, really. The personality is modeled after my on-camera personality, so they fed the system multiple videos, and that's what they came up with, and I didn't lift a finger for these videos to be made. We also got here, if I learn that the people I'm subbed to have been replaced by AI, they're losing my sub. Well, if you can't figure out that that's an AI on screen, I don't know what to tell you. But one lost sub might not be a lot, but I'm leaving, probably not the only one who's leaving. So it sounds like people are agreeing with Henrik the Wreck. Also, we have this Kebble Cobb AI thing is very interesting. On one hand, YouTube is known for its creators having personal, unique content, and on the other hand, AI is inevitable. K-Web is getting a jump start, excited for Video Summit to hear more. And so Kebble Cobb has promised his viewers that he will be showing up to the Vid Summit to do a real live experience, and audience members get the shout out what the AI model will be discussing or potentially playing during that. So I don't know about you, Henrik. I'm definitely going to be keeping a lookout for that because I want to know more about this. And Kebble Cobb AI will soon be in 5 other languages, which I got to say, I think that's the one cool benefit about the AI model. I know Mr. Beast has celebrated his team for hiring voiceover actors, to speak in different languages. I know, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the Spanish speaking voiceover actor. I'm blanking out on his name right now, but he is Mr. Beast, Spanish speaking content creator. So I think that is the cool benefits to know that, like, people don't realize, like, America's like, massive, clearly, but it's not the most dominant language in the entire world. And there's other places you would like to venture off and get your content seen from a global stance. And I think that's a beautiful tool, but do you like it? Are you still convinced, Henrik?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do. And, if anything, this is something for him to get a lot of publicity, but I think when you're a creator who got their following not because they were, using an AI, like there are AI-centered influencers, and I think there's a streamer out there that is a VTuber that uses AI, and it's just AI talking, and that's it. And that's cool, because like from the start, it is the AI. But if it's replacing the content creator, that's where I think a lot of people are not jiving with it, because then it's like, what did I sub to you for? I subbed to you for you, the individual, but now you're replacing yourself with AI, and it's not the same. Because as much as the AI can learn from the person, it's not going to ever be a replacement, at least with the current technology, because, things could be crazy 10 years from now. But it's never going to be, with the current technology, a replacement for the content creator, because they're going to be the ones actually feeding the AI the new content to learn from.
Right. And I know people are camera shy, and this might be a great replacement to help you out. I mean, we've seen streamers in the past like replace themselves with some like anime chick and it's a dude speaking, or maybe it's
the VTubers.
Yeah, exactly. So we've seen that before. So this could potentially be one of those things. But as we did even more research, more and more online, And this doesn't surprise me because as myself personally, over the 4+ years I've been doing live shows, I constantly get emails 24/7 by AI companies going, hey, Chris Collins, would you like us to turn your full episode into micro content? Feed the video into the system, and we will punch out YouTube shorts. We'll punch out TikTok videos. We'll punch out Twitter, etc. So in this text, from Mumbo Jumbo, it does not surprise me where he says, quote, I just got an email about replacing myself with an AI text-to-speech bot trained on my recordings to perfectly imitate me so that I could streamline the production process and create more content faster and scale revenues. The creator landscape is about to get weird, keeping your eyes peeled for content creators dabbling in this and reject it. The beauty of YouTube is in the personality, the humanity, and the individual creativity of each creator. Boiling it down to a text-to-speech algorithm strips all of that. It's lazy, soulless, and depressing. And as the audience, you have the power to prevent it by not engaging. But I do have to laugh because Kebble Cobb did want to respond to people like this and be like, hey, man, listen, I got ChatGPT to write it out for me. He couldn't even think of his own set. There's a time and place where, yes, let the AI model roll, but we want to hear from you. Okay, like stop allowing this kind of shit to happen. And lastly, we got here, which is at the Video Summit this year, I will give a live demo of a fully AI generated viral video live on stage. So again, keep a lookout for that. But I'm starting to feel a bit old school, Henrik. I mean, is this really our dystopian future with the next generation being raised on AI influencers?
I mean, it's possible considering I think that a lot of the viewership from any YouTube video does come from younger audiences a lot of the time, not only because they have the time to actually sit down and watch a ton of videos, but also because YouTube has always been like the youthful audience like magnet, like people when they're growing up, this current generation that's growing up like grew up on YouTube already. Because where are you going to go to watch things? Well, YouTube, of course. Like, it's not only free, but,
Right.
You don't have to have a sign in to anything if you want to watch even a majority of the content that's on the site. So I think that it definitely could be possible that 10 years from now, that another generation is going to grow up and they're going to have watched a ton of just AI content creators.
Yeah, and they're not
which is crazy to me. I mean,
I know.
It just sounds... But
right.
It's possible.
No, yeah, it's definitely wild, but I don't think it's too far fetched, in my opinion. I mean, if we're like seeing videos in the last couple of months, of examples of how people are able to do, text out into the prompt, hey, develop me an episode of South Park. Like, I don't know if you've seen those videos that were going viral like last month, Henrik. I wish I had it live on air, but it's crazy. I mean, they didn't have, the licensing agreement to make these episodes, but they were proving the example that they developed over like 10 or 15 episodes of South Park by just prompting in a simple synopsis, and they were able to generate these things within a couple hours. I mean, wild. I mean, I know the SAG actors are freaking out, about their name, image, likeness, but I think the writers' room or the CGI developers, they're going to be more fearful of a lot of these kind of things. And people are starting to get a little bit of an understanding about how these AI tools work. There's like two different sources that people are kind of thinking is what's going on. There is a thing called Forever Voices, which is the controversial AI tool that, Karen AI, it's Caryn AI. He's a virtual influencer, which outsourced this material to be having this connection with fan bases all across the globe. And others say they turn this article, into a video formatted, like an interview involving two people. So these are sources called QuickVid, and over time, you're going to start to see, more and more AI generated content. And I'm telling you, Henrik, I'm betting money on this. And I keep saying this over and over and again in season 2. The Time magazine of the year is going to be AI. And I kept telling people, I don't know what that looks like yet. We now have a portrait. It is Kebble Cobb.
There you go. Yeah. He could be the face if he really wants to be. I'm sure he would like it.
He would love it. in his opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, but what's going on in the world of like video game IPs and trading cards?
Well, interesting you bring up trading cards because what does trading cards have to do with gaming? You might be wondering. We don't really cover tabletop gaming that much, really, at all on
Right.
this show. It's more like video games, because that is what we focus on. But they've been working on this thing with a lot of other universes called Universe Beyond.
But
where
what
they
is
pull
this
in,
thing though? Like what?
It's a crossover where they bring in characters or items from other universes. Like they just did the Lord of the Rings collaboration where the One Ring.
Well, we haven't said what it was. You're speaking of Magic the Gathering, correct?
Oh yeah, Magic the Gathering. Sorry, yeah, Magic the Gathering is the card game we're talking about. And so one of the biggest card games out there that people have been playing for so long at this point. And so they like I was saying, collaborated with Lord of the Rings recently, and they also did Doctor Who, and they had a panel at their 30th anniversary where they revealed what their lineup's going to be all the way until 2026. And that's where some interesting collaborations and crossovers come into play with some very familiar names like Assassin's Creed, Fallout. Like you can see on the graphic here, there's some big titles on there. And that's crazy because you would never think that Magic the Gathering would be a thing that's trying to collaborate with these, big video game titles. But
what about this one right here? What about this one? I'm going to show it to you, everybody on screen. What about that one?
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering? I mean, we just found out that Post Malone paid $2.6 million for the one ring card, which is like so freaking insane. I didn't realize people were like this invested, but should we show the comments? I think it's appropriate before we even start having this conversation, because I do think it's pretty wild to see that like we are starting to embrace, this world of, oh my gosh, I didn't even post them. I'm an idiot. I'm a dummy. I didn't post them. I don't have it on the restream.
All good.
But you know what I can say to for everybody that's tuning in live, because we are seeing, like you just referenced, Magic the Gathering is partnering up with more cinematic and video game IP. And why is this the case? Yu-Gi-Oh has never done that before. Pokemon has never done that before. Why does Magic the Gathering feel comfortable doing this? Because, there were comments that said like, no thanks, I don't want any a part of this. To other people going, God, please, no, please, like, stop it. Stop doing this. And then others going, I think this is kind of cool. This kind of hypes up a newer generation to get involved in the trading card world that I personally loved when I was a wee lad. So what do you say to all this, Henrik? Do you like this move?
I think it's kind of cool. I think that a lot of the series that they're collaborating with, especially things like Final Fantasy, they kind of fit just perfectly into the lore of Magic the Gathering already as just like a, addition to it. But at the same time, to the people who are not really that, jiving with it, just don't play those cards, man. Just like ban those cards if you don't want to play with them. Just use the original cards. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be for a lot of tournaments anyways, where the Magic the Gathering tournaments, they already have ban lists of cards. It's the same with any, card game. Like even Yu-Gi-Oh does the same thing.
Oh, fascinating!
Can't play Pot of Greed, for example. Pot of Greed is banned, but it's going to be a similar thing with Magic the Gathering, where I'm pretty sure they recycle out and the decks anyways on what cards you can play, but they might not actually let you play these cards. It might just be like a collector thing, or maybe they will have some tournaments that do use these cards, but then others that just don't. And like I said, if you don't want to use the cards, just don't use them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's through a series called Universe Beyond. Like you said, it had Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings previously in the past, and this was all being created through the Wizards of the Coast. And like you said, universes will be going through all the way until 2026. But what I thought was quite fascinating was to know that, there's two games, Final Fantasy, and it's also, I got it right here. So Assassin's Creed is set to slated for July 2024, while Final Fantasy is dropping in 2025. And they've also added bonus of being the only set from these three series, not Fallout, just Assassin's Creed and Final Fantasy, that will also be played digitally in Magic the Gathering Arena video game. People just seem to celebrate it. They seem to not. I mean, if you think this is cringy to have video game IPs in, well, you're in for a world of shock, because in this November, they are going to be doing a Jurassic Park edition to the cards, and they also have said they're in early 2024. There's going to be a standalone experience based on the Clue board game. So it's starting to sound like it's not Magic the Gathering, but
it's going to be here for a while. Yeah,
right.
Like all the way till 26 at the very least. So if you play Magic the Gathering consistently, you're just going to have to deal with this probably for the next 3 years at least.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's a genius marketing move. It's a genius marketing move. I mean, think about Bethesda with Fallout, and they're literally about to get their own show on Amazon. So, like, what perfect timing to get more publicity to start circulating on all different channels, and including trying to grow that fan base when it comes to Assassin's Creed, who has been spoken about from the personal developers saying, we're going back to where it started. We're going to go back to that old school mechanics that everybody celebrated. And then Final Fantasy, come on, let's be real. It's Final Fantasy. They get celebrated 24/7. So, hey, I mean, if you're a collector.
This is really the Fortnite move, I want to say it is. How Fortnite collaborates with like anything that they can. And it's just more marketing and more publicity for both of them at the end of the day. So kind of the same thing here. They're going to pull in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is going to get some attention, and Magic the Gathering is going to get some attention.
Right.
So win-win either way for them, business-wise.
You don't like it? Don't buy it.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. But we wanted to end this show off on such a positive note. I mean, this is one of the coolest things that I love about this show, is highlighting very cool, special viral moments in an extraordinary display of skill. A blind Street Fighter gamer named Blind Warrior 7 clinched an impressive victory at EVO 2023. And guys, it's so freaking badass. Let's take a look.
Playing great right now. Eternal Pancake still with a chance, though.
Yeah, and Pancake has been struggling so far to try and deal with full screen headbutt, but also the jumps, I think, have been such a big problem. You see, I think he's like a little bit more cautious about jump now, and then that's where the headbutt comes in.
Small pokes. Definitely starting to add up. Rising uppercut this time around. Oh, nah, that's gonna hurt. Sven gets the combo and the corner carry as well. Goes low.
Oh my god, that could have been a confirmed 2 in a level 3. Very scary spot. Headbutt again.
Needs to be careful with those.
Ooh, and the DI. No answer. Sven getting close to having CA now, though, which is really scary if any of these hits hit.
Jumps up there with him, gets the hit. Wait a minute, you spinning that?
We'll see level 3. Huge damage on this because of critical art.
That's gonna hurt.
It's gonna make it a one-hit match now.
Walk the line of fire.
And it's close to burnout. Oh, it is burnout too, so Chip's a big problem, and he gets the headbutt on the jump back. Sven cleaning the setup over Pancake 2-1.
Yo!
We need to get EVO 2023, or at least the next edition, in an arena. I mean, they look like they're in a bingo hall. That place was completely packed, and that was so freaking badass. Everybody should have a great viewing of that experience, because that performance was electrifying. Because I don't know about you, but like, when I see cats like this, it just makes me feel like I'm like the worst gamer ever, because that dude was so freaking incredible. And comments, man.
And not to mention, to highlight that he is blind, so he can't see the screen. He's just using the audio cues to know what's going on.
It's
crazy.
amazing. And so a blind player is better than me too? Great. Just great. It's probably fake. No, chaotic creativity gaming.
It's not
That is
fake.
like the weakest namer handle that I've ever seen too. You're lame and you're a douche. Also, champions find ways to play the games they love regardless. Inspirational. And I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. And last, Blind Warrior 7 is real life Kenshi. What an amazing compliment. That is so freaking true. And I think it's important to highlight that after losing his sight at the age of 6 due to cancer, Seven found a new passion in fighting games, particularly Street Fighter 2. And so Seven quickly discovered that he could use the sound to determine his opponent's position and moves in the game. And Street Fighter 6 has been updating their accessibility settings over the years, and they've been very much celebrated in the most recent installment of the series, allowing, audio cues, which can help, signal different attacks and dodges. And what I mean by that is the audio cue speeds up or down based on the player's proximity to the opponent and helps with the distance management. So freaking cool. Who would have ever thought of this? Congrats, Seven. That was an amazing win. And man, you guys should follow that dude, because that is really, really cool content. If you're not into an AI model, you definitely got this cat who can definitely bring you some electrifying fights.
Oh no, definitely. And it is actually inspirational. Like, I look at how bad I play the game and I'm like, man, he's much better than me. I should get better too, because you can overcome it if you really, really want to play the game, and it is great, honestly, that Street Fighter did put in accessibility settings so that it's even easier for him to actually jump in, because he was jumping in on Street Fighter 2, which didn't have any of that, and he was doing fine already, but he's probably doing even better now that they have those audio cues to help him out. It's really interesting how they are able to do that with a lot of games now. They'll kind of make it so all different kinds of gamers can play, even if they have some sort of disability to prevent them from accessing the game in a way that the average gamer would be able to.
I think a lot of average gamers now hearing this are probably going to try out this feature. Maybe it might help out your game.
Yeah, I mean, I am probably going to go in and be like, I wonder what it is,
what it's all about.
Audio cue feature is like, yeah.
Like whether it throws you off or actually is a great thing for, Blind Warrior 7. I mean, I definitely want to try this out. You guys should as well. Share your comments live, because we would love to know how you guys feel about this and what you would like to see more in the future. But man, Henrik, we've had such an amazing time here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for tuning in live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And while you made it all the way to the end of the show, you might as well hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And Henrik, I know you got a lot of juicy content that's been dropping. Let the viewers know where they can follow you on social media.
So I post on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or sorry, not Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch right now, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And I'm pushing out content on there that it will be things like, hey, here's a quick game recommendation. Want to try it out? Here's what it's like. Go try it out. And just as a final note on us being live here, we are live. We see the comments. And, we won't be replaced by AI anytime soon. Don't worry about it.
Right. It's so true, man. We can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for joining in live all the time. Go ahead and check out thechriscollinsshow.com for even more content, even beyond gaming. You might find something that you might like there as well. And we will see you guys next week, fam. Peace.